We hope you've gathered family and friends because you're about to meet a young woman who is changing the world. She's teaching everyone about courage and the unstoppable power of children who just want to learn and walk the path to their future. She's 16 years old and she was shot in the head because of what she believes. And we want you to know some of what you'll see tonight is a harsh reality. But her book, I Am Malala, reminds us all that radiant strength can sometimes come from surprising places, like a distant valley in Pakistan, where there is a battle between dark and light. In ancient times, the Pashto people had a proverb: a woman's place is in the home or in the grave.
I come from a country which was created at midnight.
Tonight, a tiny Pashto girl may be the bravest person in the world.
When I almost died, it was just after midday.
A year ago, Malala Yousafzai shot in the head at point-blank range. And tonight, 16-year-old girl, a towering presence in the world. Lining up with her, millions of people, heads of state, all religion, adult, children, holding up their hands to say, I am Malala too.
I am Malala! I am Malala! We are Malala!
Cheering her at the United Nations when she promised that millions of girls who've been silenced will be heard.
One child, one book, and one pen can change the world.
For the world, so much conviction.
Hello.
It's startling when you actually meet her. She is in fact small, shy, childlike, eager to show me her magic tricks.
This is it. Oh, I know another trick. And the ring is out. Are you double jointed?
No.
But you are double jointed. Why don't you practice?
And she says, like most teens, once she was worried about how short she is and how difficult her hair.
I used to be in the toilet for hours. Everything about my hair, oh, my hair killed me.
But inside the schoolgirl, a gladiator trying to wake up the world that girls should get to live their dreams too.
280 plus. In some parts of the world, students are going to school every day. It's their normal life. But in other parts of the world, we are starving for education. But for us, it's like a precious gift. It's like a diamond.
You wanted to be #1 in your class. Pretty competitive.
Still, I want to be the #1.
She was born with wild curiosity and a lot of question. For instance, in her culture, why are women forbidden to leave home without a man, even if the male is just a little boy?
I wouldn't go outside without any boy. My brother would go with me. If a man can go, why can't a woman? I can see no difference between them.
And by her side, navigating his child toward her dreams, her father. A teacher who built her school from ground up, scavenging money, even sweeping the floors.
I had a great passion for education. My father was a teacher, great teacher, and I loved teaching.
Her mother, traditional, refusing to be photographed, never learning to read. There are also 2 little boys in the family. But Dad says he always knew this girl was filled with infinite possibility.
When I saw her for the first time, a very newborn child, and I looked into her eyes, I fell in love with her, believe me. I love her. I love her.
Malala has said, you always said, Malala will be free as a bird. Where did this come from?
I accepted her as an individual. As in my society, sons are accepted. The only difference I made, that I accepted our daughter as an individual.
And when he was a young father, he was excited. His country seemed to be on the way to a more open future. There'd been a female prime minister, Benazir Bhutto. There were new schools and universities being built every day. And then, in 2009, the Taliban came out of the shadows. The radical fundamentalist men who first banned dancing, the movies, burned DVDs in the streets, and decreed a death penalty for barbers and any sign of independence in a woman. Malala was 11 years old and watching.
They would slaughter people, and then the Taliban would say, like, this man had not long beard, this one had short. She was not wearing burqa, that woman was a dancer, she's a singer, that's why we slaughtered them.
They broadcast this announcement on the radio. All schools for girls had to be closed immediately. They bombed the schoolhouses, threw acid at the face of girl students, everyone in terror. Yet one little girl still had her powerful certainty that girls should not disappear into the silence.
They cannot stop me. I will get my education, if it is in home, school, or any place.
What was the moment you were most afraid, that you had the most fear?
Like, I was feeling fear all the time. I was worried that a Talib may come and he throw acid on my face. At night when I used to sleep, I was thinking all the time that, shall I put a knife under my pillow?
She read her books in secret. 50,000 girls just like her in hiding too. So Malala Yousafzai decides to take a chance.
These are my notebooks.
She starts writing a diary using the name Gul Makai, cornflower. With her father, they send it to the BBC. It is published online, reminiscent of another young girl in peril. Do you know about Anne Frank?
Yes, she was a brave, confident girl who once lived. And I read a book about her, and she really amazed me. Why they are killed on the basis of religion? What's their crime? What have they done?
Next, Malala speaks out in an online interview, one of her first, calling on the world to help and using her name.
We must have the confidence to say that this thing is going wrong, and we must raise our voice.
And that same year, the New York Times hears about her and begins filming this documentary of a shy, very brave young girl.
I want to become a doctor.
The name Malala becomes a beacon out in the world, and in Pakistan, her words are gathering strength and supporters. So the Taliban send warning, death threats. Her father tries to navigate between hope and fear. But did you at any point say, did I let her become exposed and at risk?
I agree. I think we should not put out the camera, okay? We value freedom. We live for a cause greater than our lives.
He says the real question is, where was everyone else?
The people who blame me, they should blame themselves who did not speak for their right. It was very hard, but you see, we stood to protect others.
Later that year, at one point, it does seem better. Thanks to the Pakistan army, the Taliban forced to retreat.
Ultimately, we will be the winner. And the miscreants, the militants, they will be the losers. I'm hopeful, I'm optimistic.
He's too much optimistic, so I don't agree with him, because the leaders, the commanders of Taliban are still alive.
Still fearful, but with her childlike, magical thinking, Malala rehearses how she would reason with her attacker if they still decide to come.
It was always my desire before the attack that if a man comes, what would you tell him, Malala? I used to think like that. And I said that I would tell that man that education is very important. I would tell that man that I even want education for your daughter.
And you think that would work against a gun?
I thought that words and books and pens are more powerful than guns.
On October 9th, 2012, she was on the little school bus, like this one, still being used in Pakistan. The girls around her were singing. You were singing?
Yes, and just also like considering the bus to be a drum and making some music.
A handful of girls, all of their faces covered. Only one was not.
On the day when I was shot, all of my friends' faces were covered except mine.
Was that wise? It was brave, but was it wise?
At that time, I was not worried about myself. I wanted to live my life as I want.
But the young girl did notice that the street was strangely quiet.
I didn't see those men. I just could see like there is no one.